All right, welcome to this special edition of Hannity Election Countdown. Mark your calendars because the 2024 presidential election is only 88 days away, and in 39 days, early voting officially kicks off in Pennsylvania, rolls out around the country. Buckle up because the next 3 months, well, it's going to be insane. It'll be an emotional roller coaster. Anyway, President Trump already has survived an assassination attempt. Trump also has emerged unscathed from a multi-pronged effort from the left to throw him in jail. And meanwhile, Democrats are now on their second ticket after realizing the Biden-Harris administration failed all of you dramatically, and they were not capable of winning a second term. But instead of nominating someone new, they just simply anointed the most unpopular vice president in history and in the history of polling, a person who was routinely mocked on both sides of the aisle for being incompetent, unlikable, and fake. You decide.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
The significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
A movement that has always been about the ability to see what can be unburdened by what has been.
We have seen what can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
What can be unburdened by what has been. No wonder she reads the same exact speech every single campaign event, pretty much word for word. Now, her campaign is simply terrified to let her go off script, and for good reason. The more people hear from the real Kamala Harris and the more they get to know her, the less likely she is to get elected. So she, with the help of the state-run media Pravda mob, they're hiding her in the basement, like they did Joe in 2020, or pretty much their version of it. Now, that's why Kamala Harris almost never speaks without a teleprompter and almost never gives, a speech that is different. It's the same words, same speech over and over again. Watch.
It is good to be back in Pennsylvania.
It really is good to be back in Wisconsin.
It is so good to be back in Michigan. I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And listen, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. I know Donald Trump's type. I know Donald Trump's type. In this campaign, I proudly put my record against his any day of the week. In this campaign, I'll tell you, I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week. Are you ready to make your voices heard?
Ready to make your voices heard?
Are you ready to make your voices heard? When we fight, we win!
And I know Kamala's type, radical, extreme, and her policies are downright dangerous. Since her coronation, there have been 0 official press conferences, 0 national interviews. In fact, she has not participated in an official presser since December last year, and that went on for a whopping 12 minutes. Nancy Pelosi once urged her colleagues to pass a bill so they can find out what's in the bill. Now, Democrats, they're asking you, the American people, to vote for Kamala Harris so you can find out what she really believes. According to the New Yorker, quote, Harris's campaign website, meanwhile, does not have a policy section or an articulation of beliefs. There's just a button to donate, some merch, and yard signs, and a biography. Now, naturally, her biography does not make any mention of Kamala's prior positions that she's had on issues like her ban on fracking and oil exploration, and her plan to defund, dismantle the police, no bail laws, or her support for that bail fund after a police precinct was burned to the ground 4 days later, 4 days after the burning, or her plan to abolish ICE, or her plan to decriminalize illegal immigration and give illegal immigrants free health care, housing, education, or her plan to have a mandatory gun buyback program to confiscate your guns, or her plan to eliminate the filibuster so she can pass the whopping $93 trillion socialist Green New Deal. And according to random campaign staffers, though, Kamala's a new woman, well, whose views suddenly changed on everything. They changed as soon as she was anointed the Democratic nominee without a single vote, and they disenfranchised every Democratic primary voter in the country. But, of course, we're yet to hear from Kamala herself, so we really don't know about any of these issues. Did she change her mind on fracking? Did she change her mind on mandatory gun buybacks? You know, these issues, however, this week, Kamala did promise to bring prices down on day one. Inflation, she's going to deal with on day one if she's elected. Is she forgetting something? You decide.
Prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. You know it and I know it. You know, when I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And when I am president, it will be a day one priority to fight to bring down prices. I will take on big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging. I will take on corporate landlords that unfairly raise rents on working families. I will take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans.
Day one, going to take this on. Kamala, you're in office right now. You're the vice president of the country. You were elected 4 years ago. And every single month under your administration, prices have gone up and up and up and up and up. Every item, every American buys in every store they go to, up, up, up. Of all people, you should understand the significance of the passage of 4 years of time. And during the past 3+ years, gas prices, yep, they're up a whopping amount as well, as are housing prices, as are food costs. They're going through the roof. Credit card debt, nearly $7,000 per American. This is insane. And keep in mind, the most significant component of inflation is government spending. Yeah, that keeps going up a whopping $2 trillion a year. Here are just a few examples of how Kamala spent your money. Now, first we have $5 billion for an electric school bus program that has managed to produce 60 buses. That's $83 million per bus produced. And let's not forget the $7.5 billion investment, they always say investment, in electric vehicle charging stations that produced only 7 stations in 2 years. Wow, that's the government. And she wants to get rid of your own private health care insurance. As legend has it, Kamala's still trying to figure out how these charging stations work. It didn't work out when she tried it the last time. Take a look.
That's it? Yeah.
There we are.
That's it.
And there's no sound or fume.
There is nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's
So
all there
for
is
all of
to
us
it.
who are used to,
Every morning
filling our tank, you usually can smell it and you can hear it. You can hear the guzzling sound.
Right.
None of that.
None of
so
that.
how do I know it's actually working?
It is. So typically, once you wave the card, it's actually charging. So
But
that's,
how would I know that? Tell me how I would know that.
So typically, excuse me.
Yes.
So typically, you come in, you wave this card,
Yeah.
and then what it would do is it would authenticate, and then the light turns green. So you look at the green light.
So this is while it's charging.
Absolutely.
Has anyone ever told Kamala 90% of the electric grid is fossil fuel based? Has anyone ever told her that to get the batteries to build an electric car, you got to pillage Mother Earth and get the cobalt and the nickel and the manganese and all those other minerals, and that studies have shown that electric cars are heavier and more dangerous to other drivers? Americans can't afford 4 more years of Kamala Harris. She picked a running mate, meanwhile, who doesn't even understand basic economics 101, not even on a personal level. Tim Walz, it turns out, He has no stocks, no bonds, no 401k. By the way, first thing I say to somebody when I hire them, make sure you invest in your 401k. No real estate. He doesn't have a mortgage. He doesn't even own a house. He has never started a business or worked in the private sector. And Democrats think this guy should be a heartbeat away from the presidency, the second in command of the country with the largest economy in the world. But it gets worse. On issues from defunding, dismantling the police, no bail laws, open borders, free health care, universal health care system, and free health care for illegal immigrants, free education, driver's licenses is for illegals. Walz is as radical as it gets. Walz is nuts. As governor, he even let neighborhoods in Minneapolis simply burn to the ground and do nothing in the summer of 2020, waiting 5 whole days before sending in the National Guard. His family wanted to breathe in the air and the smell of burning rubber. And according to a Minnesota Senate report, as Minneapolis was burning, well, these were the questions that Walz's staff were posing to the Guard before sending them in. Any diversity and inclusion training? Any experience working with diverse communities? What communities will they be coming from? Walz was putting DEI ahead of safety and security as the city of Minneapolis is burning and a police precinct is burned to the ground and a Target is ransacked. Meanwhile, his advocacy for child sex change, well, that's pretty creepy and dangerous. He's also known, well, famously now on X as Tampon Tim. Why? Because he all but forced schools to put women's, well, menstrual products in boys' bathrooms by removing gendered language from a state mandate. Yeah, he did it. But Walz's radical track record doesn't end there. According to a report from the Washington Examiner, get this, Governor Walz repeatedly hosted a radical Muslim cleric who actually celebrated the October 7th terror attack, pushed bizarre anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and even posted a link to a pro-Hitler film called Adolf Hitler, the Greatest Story Never Told. So does Walz condone this kind of rhetoric? Kind of hard to say because, like Harris, Walz, he's not answering questions. He's not holding press conferences. He's not doing a gaggle. You deserve better. It's that simple. Especially after a little switcheroo, they should be forced to answer questions. But your corrupt, state-run media mob is giving them a pass like they did Joe in 2020. And especially now that Walz is being accused of stolen valor by the very people that served with him in the National Guard. It appears that Walz embellished his rank, has repeatedly bragged about a deployment to a combat zone with a gun. Never happened. Walz retired from the Guard just before his platoon was set to deploy to Iraq. In 2004, CBS anchor Dan Rather, remember, he tried to sink George W. Bush's re-election with a fake story about Bush's service in the Air National Guard. The media went wild with that story. Why aren't they going wild here with stolen valor and literally telling people something about his record that is false in terms of his rank when he retired that made him look better? Now, in the Bush case, well, the documents, by the way, turned out to be fake. Now, during a very real scandal with eyewitness accounts, the media mob, well, they're going to let Walz off the hook. He's a Democrat, and he's running against Donald Trump. It's that simple. Journalism, I said it in 07 and 08, it is dead in this country, and now it is dangerous. We have an information crisis. You deserve to know that the past 4 years have been a train wreck, and this is the most radical, extreme, dangerous, major party ticket ever to run for the White House. And it's just sad and it's pathetic. You know, when people try to buy a house or, fill up their cars or look at their credit card statement, well, guess what? You're feeling the impact of their policies that will get much worse with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.